And good morning. Hey, this is the Fort Worth Playboy, and welcome to the Fort Worth Playboy Morning Show. And thank you for being here. I apologize for being a little late this morning. We're trying to compress more into less time, and sometimes it doesn't always work out the way we like, and that's okay. Um, Welcome to the show. What do we cover here on the Fort Worth Morning Show? We cover game, pickup, relationships, and sex. And when I say we, it's me and my Playboy's Bunny, and she'll be with me here at 7 a.m. on Thursday morning. We do it together, and we kind of trade off. She does a show for a while. I do a show for a while. We're still trying to find that sweet spot of exposure and time and energy with two, three, or in her case, 4 or 5 different jobs, including running a household and being a mom. So there's a lot going on. But we're glad you're here, and we fall under the umbrella of the red pill, which includes like MGTOW and men's rights activists and divorce activists, and even like anything that has to do with intersexual dynamics, be it economic, social, psychological, academic. All these things matter, and we fall under this umbrella of the red pill. And we mostly focus in on game. The red pill being strategic, we are more tactical. If you come to our timeline, you're going to find things that you can apply that day to help you move a girl from a complete stranger to naked and in your bed and grateful to be there, all the way to reigniting the passion in a 20 or 30-year marriage, which is what Bunny's really, really good at. And it's a very, very difficult and challenging thing to do. And not a lot of people do it, and even fewer do it well. And she does it very well as far as getting people reconnected, especially physically. Again, these are things that are challenging and are hard to do on your own. So that's what we cover here. And we always open the show with a maxim. We start with maxim 42. And by the way, if you have any questions, by all means, go to YouTube, our show on YouTube, and you can put your question in the comment box. I'll do my absolute best to address it during the broadcast to the best of my ability. And if I can't get to it, I'll definitely probably try to get to it on the question of the day, where we do like 8 to 12 minutes on one question alone and just focus in on that. Maxim number 42, very important maxim. He has about 200. When a girl signals that she doesn't enjoy blowjobs or sex, do not spend 1 second more with her. Your libido is too important to gamble on such a girl. This is a foundational maxim. This is a type of maxim that saves you 8, 10, 12, 15, 20 years of frustration and lost time in your life when you meet a girl who said blowjob. He says blowjob in here, and I think it's basically says what you're doing is you're filtering out girls that aren't sexually open, sexually adventurous, sexually enthusiastic, and that's a word that Bunny and I use. And we tend to see that women who are sexually enthusiastic tend to make better partners. But again, if she doesn't enjoy blowjobs, she's not really the type of girl to enjoy much of anything else. There's a certain block, there's a certain wall there when it comes to sex. And that's like a minimum requirement. That's the cost of doing business. That's a minimum buy-in for a girl if she wants a long-term boyfriend or a husband. And if she doesn't want to do that, you're probably better off. No, it's not probably. You are better off letting her go, dumping her, walking out, and find somebody that is more sexually enthusiastic. Because this is something that, like Bunny and I say, if the sex is good, almost everything else can be worked out. You just rarely ever see a couple that is still having great sex in divorce court. So this helps you deal with, this is a no girl. When a girl says she doesn't enjoy blowjobs or sex, she's just a no. She may like you. She may be a good partner. She may end up being a good mother. She may be a good worker. She may be good at cleaning the house. She may be a good, for all intents and purposes, you have to have a good sex life to fulfill being a good spouse under most circumstances. But when a girl signals that she does not enjoy blowjobs or sex, it's best to cut right then. It's just not going to get any better. Do not spend 1 second more with her. There are men that know going in to a marriage that she's not that enthusiastic about sex, and he thinks he'll change her, and he won't. If anything, it will become worse. So you need to know ahead of time. And that's what we're here to do, is save you time, effort, anguish, and energy. Cut her off. If you have to do it cold, if you have to get up and leave, do that. But again, especially if you're in the beginning stages of dating, that's where sex first, then relationship, maybe. You have to have sexual compatibility. Then if she sticks around, if she's interesting, if she's fun, if she's cool, if she's nice, if she's feminine, if she, is enthusiastic about you, then you can let her bring up relationship stuff down the road. But otherwise, you're not available. So again, this is a breaking point. When a girl signals that she doesn't enjoy blowjobs or sex, do not spend 1 second more with her. Your libido is too important to gamble on such a girl. And the point is, your sex life is too important to roll dice with. Because if she's already showing this out before you're even married or even in a long-term relationship, it's not going to get better. Guys are very good at assuming risk and will give it a shot and give her the benefit of the doubt. They really like her, but it never works out well. And we know that. So we advise you to walk away and just turn your back. And down the road, when you're having enthusiastic sex with a girl just as good, if not better, you'll be glad you did. And guys are pretty good about looking back and going, I missed a bullet. And that I'm very grateful for that. And this is one of those things. And Chateau was pretty good about being very balanced, in approaches. And he had a lot of experience under his belt when he wrote this, that it's not going to get better. You can hope it will. She can still be a good person, but what you want to do is cut her loose and let her be someone else's problem. That way you can move on and enhance another better, more deserving, more compatible girl with her. Because there are guys out there that don't really care about sex that much. I mean, 90% of them aren't that interested. And a girl that's not that enthusiastic about sex will be just fine. They have a couple kids. They live a nice, long, full life. You have to remember that we're outliers. So you have to kind of like filter out girls that are more average, below average in sex drive or experimentation or enthusiasm, because they are built for someone else. They're built for the betas, the vast majority of men who are like, they want a wife. They want their parents to get off of his back. He wants someone there when he comes home. He wants someone to take care of the kids when he's going hunting or fishing or gaming or radio controlled cars or whatever he decides to do on the weekends. So the sex isn't that big of a deal, whereas it's a higher priority to most men in our little world here. So just know that you're not dumping her into the ether like there's no hope for. She's going to be happier and healthier and not feel as much pressure with a more beta, average, lower sex drive guy. Again, they're a better fit for someone else, and you need to find somebody that is enthusiastic about sex with you. That's the important thing, most important thing. Maxim number 42, foundational. When a girl signals that she doesn't enjoy blowjobs or sex, do not spend 1 second more with her. Your libido is too important to gamble on such a girl. Let her be someone else's problem, and move on and find somebody or some bodies that are more compatible. And that's the real deal with Maxim number 42. Let's see what else we have. I keep thinking of the format that we do on the question of the day. And I'm like, we're all done here, but we're not. We're just getting started. So every interaction you have with a girl, text, DM, call, meetup, before you fuck her is an opportunity for you to say something stupid or for her to find a problem with you and not fuck you. This is why we say the phone is for logistics only. Yes, you have to have a little bit of fun, sexy banter. You can't just go, let's say your point, where the source is doesn't really matter. You either got their information from an app or you bumped into them at a park and you've got their phone number. Wherever you're at, you want to get them onto the phone, onto text, or onto call. But minimum, yes, you have to have a little bit of interaction, but you do not want to become a text buddy. You can't just send, hey, you want to meet up? They don't know you really. You've got to put some personality to it. And I always say, opener, little sexy banner, little back and forth, 2 or 3 lines. You can script this stuff. We can give you examples. There are examples in Basic Training 1 and 2 of my books. And along with How to Build Your Dating System, there's samples in there. But you need a little bit of back and forth and then make the offer. Hey, I'm going to so-and-so on Thursday night about 7. Do you want to go with me? And then they'll give you their answer, or their can't make it then. I would love to see you next week. And now you know where you're going. So the thing is you want to minimize, because every interaction you have with a girl before you guys start fucking is she's filtering out. And I don't want to nag you guys out too much on this, but just realize she's looking, or she's got her radar up, or antennas are out for something to not like about you. It's just the way they're built before you start fucking them. That is why you need to keep this to logistics only. And then when you're in person, that's where men do better, because you have your presence, your charisma, your vocal, you have your size. Women are mesmerized by men in their presence, not on the phone. Again, women have the advantage online and before you're fucking. Men have the advantage in person and after you're fucking. Each one is their separate things, but you need to realize that before you guys start banging, you want to keep that text communication, DMs, all that to a minimum. Get her in front of you. You can't sell over the phone. This is old school stuff. You can't sell over the phone. And every interaction you have with a girl by electronic means, she is seeing it through her perception. You have no control over that. And think about how many times, even like with your buddies, there's miscommunication. So every interaction you have, there's the risk of something not coming across the right way. And she goes, bleh. She just flips over. So remember that. And again, girls are easily distracted. She's got dudes hitting her up from Instagram. She's got ex-boyfriends looking for a fuck buddy. She's already got whoever she's hooking up with on the down low now. So she's got all these distractions, and you're just a dude in her phone until you get her in front of you. So do that as fast as possible. But you do have to have a little bit of back and forth on the phone, but do not become her text buddy. You're not there for that. If she wants to start dragging you off into an uninteresting topic, you just go, hey, you know what? I find this super interesting, but could we talk about it Thursday night when we meet up? And then you just roll from there. Again, it's an opportunity for you to fuck up before you guys hook up. So you could say something stupid, or for her to find a problem with you and not fuck you. You get more leeway. Before you start banging her 2 or 3 times in that first week, she's looking for a reason not to have sex with you. After she has sex with you 2 to 3 times, her default is to justify her decision to fuck you. So you can kind of actually fuck up, and she'll actually move it over into the win column in your favor. She'll justify it in her head why that's a good idea, why you would do that it's an advantage to her. Again, they're justifying their behavior after they've started. So that's the real deal. But what you have to know is every time, and again, attraction has an expiration date. Do not get into a text buddy relationship. It doesn't benefit her. It doesn't benefit you, and everybody loses. So move her quickly. Every interaction you have with a girl by text or DM, call before a meetup, before you fuck her, is an opportunity for you to say something stupid or for her to find a problem with you and not fuck you. And then after she starts fucking you, you have a little bit more leeway. You know, you can be your idiot self. That's the real deal. And a lot of these tips are in basic training 1 and 2 and how to build your dating system. So if you need a system and you need lines and you need a script, they're in those 2 books. Let's see what else we have. And again, if you have any interest in any of my books, it's fortworthplayboy.gumroad.com. So this one always gets people. And it's a fact, and it's an uncomfortable truth in game. Uncomfortable truth about women's true nature. Wife and child murderer, Chris, I can't remember this guy's last name. It doesn't really matter. Gets far more nudes, love letters, and unsolicited marriage proposals than reliable Ted in IT, who's just looking for a nice girl to settle down with. Fame, notoriety, danger, all these things are attractive to women. What's not attractive to women is computers, reliability, knowing where he's at. Well, they kind of know where Chris is because he's in prison for life. But the boring truth is, and unfortunately, women want that emotional roller coaster. Now, if you're on the right side and you can provide that emotional roller coaster through game, which is learned charisma, you're going to win. Again, they want unpredictability, a little bit of danger, some reputation. This Chris guy that did his family in, on his side, he had ran a lot of women before. So I think this was just a continuation in the murder streak being just another part of his personality. So there's a lot there. But women, even, like with Bundy, and there's even not attractive, physically attractive guys in prison that pull women constantly. And I've seen some of the letters and the pictures, and these are not unattractive girls sending stuff to this guy. It's truly insane. And again, you're like, well, you know what? They really are so bored with the men around them that this is exciting. And it's girls' emotions are much wider and much more, have more impact on them than men's do. And they feel good. I mean, bad feelings even feel good to women over time. It's really bizarre. But you have to realize that they want that up and down. They want that uncertainty, that danger, and especially danger that's safe, because this guy's behind bars. But if the guy on the right can learn game, this is what she starts saying about him. She says, yeah, man, I've been having sex with this guy who works for like IBM, and he's like a programmer. He's not my regular type, but there's just something about him. And that something about him is game. That something about him is charisma. You see short kings cleaning up all the time. Girls never dated anybody under 6'4". And this guy comes along at 5'7". He's just banging the hell out of her. And all she can say is, I don't know. He's not my regular type, but there's just something about him. That's the real deal. You have to take these characteristics of this asshole on the left and place them in our world. And it drives women insane with desire and attraction. And how you look physically, again, you'll see some schlubby guys with some hot women because they have charisma. They have that killer instinct within them, even if 99% of their time they're like writing emails or, helping doing programming and other boring, horrible shit. And that's the real deal. The uncomfortable truth about women's true nature, what they actually chase, is not what they tell you. It's what you see them chasing. Wife and child murderer Chris gets far more nudes, love letters, and unsolicited marriage proposals than reliable Ted, who's anonymous and never seen, in IT, who's just looking for a nice girl to settle down with. So if you ever wonder why you're struggling, quite often it's because you don't have that killer instinct. You don't have any game. And game is not playing games, it's charisma. So that's the real deal. And every one of my products covers building your game. Running a rotation of girls is a cheat code to finding quality girls. Dating is a numbers game. Rotations serve your purpose, be it variety or a focused search for a long-term relationship. The idea of running a rotation is it's faster to meet a quality girl through a rotation than it is doing monogamy. Serial monogamy, where you meet one girl, you just date her for a while. You give it like 12 weeks, and then at the end of the free trial, she, says, "Hey, where are we going? What are we doing with this?" And then you're boyfriend, girlfriend for 6 months until it fizzles out, or until she cheats or you cheat, or, it just ends. So now you've spent 9 months with this one girl who wasn't a good fit for you, but you really didn't have anybody else to fall back on anyway. So you stayed with her, and now 9 months are gone, and you go to the next girl and do that for another 9 months. You've got 2 girls in a year and a half. Whereas if you have a rotation and you're seeing 3, 4 girls one time a week, and you're able to discern, they're like, know that you're not really a serious guy. So they're going to like wander off at about 8, 12, 16 weeks, depending on where they're at in their life. They'll actually wander off and go find a guy that's better suited for monogamy. And during that time, if you can filter out the girls that are not the quality that you want, or don't have the enthusiasm for certain things, or don't job, or they have weight issues. I mean, anything you want to toss them out or not take them serious, you can, again, you can still have sex with them while you're evaluating other girls. Again, they're a plate. They're friends with benefits. They're fuck buddies, and they know their status. And then you can also have girlfriend candidates. These are girls that have a little bit higher quality. You click with them a little bit better. They click with you a little bit better. They chase you a little bit harder. A lot of times girls decide that they're going to be the one, and then they just literally it's like Survivor, outlast all the other girls as they fall off. Because all girls at some point, when you run a rotation, will eventually drop out for a guy to give monogamy a shot. Doesn't work out most of the time. They'll be back. That's cool. See, good morning, my Playboy's bunny. We were talking about her, where you outplay the rest. And you have the qualities that are unique to that player. That's one of the things that I've noticed where I've talked to guys that have ran rotations, is there a couple girls usually will stand out. Some are just more compatible. Again, the ones you vibe with, keep around. And other ones, and girls are sophisticated, especially if you're dealing with adults. They know the deal. They know you're a player. They know you're a playboy. It's fun for them, but they know in the back of their head, they're going to have to find somebody a little bit more serious or more inclined to monogamy and, settling down, for lack of a better phrase. But that's the real deal. A rotation is good for everyone. The key here, and this is the one caveat I always tell guys, and I have a book called How to Build a Rotation, and it's in here. It's at Fort Worth, at fortworthplayboy.gumroad.com. How to Build a Rotation shows you from how to take a girl from complete stranger to in your rotation and happy. But you have to be upfront. This isn't one of those things where they think you're exclusive and you're just cheating with a bunch of girls. That's not what this is about. This is something that's above board. You don't tell them, you don't talk about it. It's bad form to mention you're fucking other girls to a girl that you're having sex with. It's just bad form. It's not a player thing to do. It's just, how it's just rude. So it's not something you bring up or you throw into anyone's face, because it's not to be done that way. You want to have some class about yourself and them. But they're going to know through your actions, through your behavior, through your absences, they can't find you, or they, hear about you and they realize their friends have had sex with you too. All these things, but it's not about you dating 4 girls that all are exclusive to you. You have to be okay with them. They're going to have sex with other men. You have to accept that as part of this. And guys that can't, and that's okay, because there's some guys that just, they got to be just one. You're better off with serial monogamy. This is not a program or a rotation. Isn't something you should look into, because it'll drive you insane. And you're really asking for a lot of drama in your life, which the exact idea of having a rotation is minimizing drama, increasing fun and flexibility, and everybody having a good time together. Again, girls are smart. They sniff out if they're like completely monogamous. They do not want to have anything to do with a player or a guy that's, like very flexible with his monogamy. She's going to bail out sooner than later, and that's okay. That's their job. Their job is to like bail out if it's not a good fit, and that's okay. But if you can't deal with them also at some point wandering off, this isn't for you. Guys want to run stuff, and you're just making your life much harder when you do the cheating thing. It's just not what this is. That's not what a rotation is. And I even have a book about building a harem. Again, it's not about one man and all the girls are exclusive to him. There's certain guys that can coach that. They're very unique. It's not a big group. It's even teeny tiny. It's like infinitesimal. I know one gentleman in Australia that does that, has like 4 or 5 wives in a contract, and he's got a couple guys that he kind of coaches into that. It's a unique situation, but this rotation is very much for you if you're moving fast. You want to find one girl eventually, and it gives you your best choices. That way it doesn't take you forever. You can date 3 girls in 3 weeks instead of 3 girls in 2.5 years, and still show up with nothing. So that's why running a rotation of girls is a cheat code to finding one quality girl. Dating is purely a numbers game. You start looking back, you go, my God, I have dated hundreds of women and gone through tens of thousands of contacts, if not hundreds of thousands of contacts. When you look at it at the end of the day, rotations serve your purpose, be it variety or a focus search for a long-term relationship. And that's the real deal. So that's what rotations are for, and that's what they serve. Again, for a lot of guys and for women too, if they're not in a place mentally where they can be a good boyfriend or girlfriend, and the guys, this is what they'll run, and the girls will jump into something like that where they date casually a couple of other people. So that's the real deal. Running a rotation of girls is a cheat code, and allows you to pick the best of the bunch, those that are most compatible with you, and everybody benefits. You just got to keep it above board. I think that's the hardest thing for a lot of people. When we're talking about once you get married, scheduling is a big deal. You hear guys and girls always arguing. She wants me to be home by 6, and I'm trying to build this career, or I'm trying to build this business. And you know what? I can't get home by 6. I got to be home by 8. And inevitably, you start asking questions. You find out what's really going on. Is her expectations are different than his. So if you know you're going to have to hard charge at your career or your business or whatever you're doing, or you're going to have to travel a lot, you need to be very picky about who you hook up with down the road, or as far as who you pick as a wife for a long-term relationship. Because look at what her dad did for a living to see what type of schedule she'll expect. This isn't written down. No one tells you this, but this is how it works. If he was home by 5:30 for dinner every night, and your career requires 4 days of travel during the week, you're in for a bad time. That's just the way it is. I've worked with women that their husband leaves on Sunday night, comes back on Friday morning. And her dad did the same thing. She's used to it. She knows this is a deal. And then I've also been around women that their dad like worked down the street or worked from home, like selling insurance, and he was always home. And now her husband is never home. So there's a stark contrast. And even like just when they're telling you about this, the emphasis is like the second girl will say, and he's never home, as opposed to the first girl that is like, he's never home. My dad was never home. This is normal. So you have to realize that if you're going to have an extreme type of lifestyle, and most guys that are hard chargers they won't be home a lot, especially younger, when things are kind of building up. You have to manage her expectations. And the best way is to ask her what her dad did. When was he home? And a lot of times things may change over time. Like, my dad got sick when he was like 40 and then he had to cut back. So there's a lot of variables you do need to know. But mentally, I think, and people will ignore this, what you've seen as you're growing up is really a blueprint, for lack of a better phrase. It's a blueprint for what you expect, whether you realize it or not. I mean, it's kind of like the first time I ever ate over at a friend's house when I was like 8 or 10, and the food tastes different. You don't realize that there's other lifestyles, there's other tastes, there's other ways of living. And a lot of girls go to college, they're very flexible, they have but hardwired or hard lined in their head is how they were raised. It's like Bunny, her dad owned his own business and that she worked in. So if you own your own business, that's pretty much as good as it's going to get, is her having a dad who owned his own business that she also had to work in or worked in. They understand the struggle. They understand the ups and downs. They understand he's there and then he's gone. And then it's unpredictable. And you have to be where the client is and that you're on call basically. So there's all kinds, as opposed to if her dad had worked 9 to 5 and was home by 5:15 every day, completely different. And everybody kind of goes through different cycles, but it's what she knows. She's not shocked by it, especially with, we're both in fitness. So it's very early and very late. And girls, it throws them off. I mean, they don't mind you leaving at 5 a.m., but they want you home by 5 p.m. across the board. Every fitness business owner I've talked to has dealt with this at some point in his lifetime, where the wife wants him home by 5. Well, you own your own gym. Why can't you be home by 5? Because in the fitness business, the prime selling time is 5 to 8 p.m. You have to be there. Otherwise, you won't have a business when you come back in the morning. So prime time, that's what we call it, prime time, 5 to 8. So that's the real deal. And guys deal with it all the time. So you have to know what they expect. And if you're own your own business, best to find a girl that her dad owned his own business, owned his own restaurant, owned his own service business, owned his own production company, because she's going to understand the challenges and the ups and downs and the dry periods and then your flush. So that's the real deal. Look at what her dad did for a living to see what type of schedule she'll expect. If he was home by 5:30 for dinner every night and your career requires 4 days of travel during the week, you're in for a bad time. And that's the real deal. So if you guys like this, like it, share it. We're a little bit out of time. We're running, it's 7:40. But if you want to financially support this channel, you can go to fortworthplayboy.gumroad.com or myplayboysbunny.gumroad.com. We have probably combined at least 50 products, something that's challenging you, whether it's sexual or how to do this, or I don't know how to date and move them from complete stranger to in my bed in 1 or 2 dates, or I've been married for 30 years and we have a dead bedroom. How do I fix that? All these questions can be answered. And if you're not sure what the right product for you is, reach out to us through email or through a DM, and we will respond and guide you in. Sometimes it requires a consultation, and you can find that at fortworthplayboy.com or myplayboysbunny.com. We have consultations available. We can get on the phone, get one-on-one with you, and get your background and get your questions answered, get your problems solved quickly and efficiently. And if you have any questions, be sure to direct them. And we're always looking for question of the day. I appreciate you guys being here. I appreciate you guys supporting this channel, and I hope you have a great day.